At 6 in the morning, I was standing on the porch of my own cabin, handcuffed, accused of kidnapping my 73-year-old mother-in-law. The HOA president, Karen Whitfield, was smirking like she'd won, but then the cops stepped inside. And what they found froze her smile in place forever. Act T. The Spark. My name's Alex Morrison. I'm 35. A nurse, the kind of guy who fixes people for a living. And yet, somehow, in this neighborhood, I was treated like the criminal. See, my mother-in-law, Maggie, she's sharp, she's stubborn. She was a law professor for decades. She owns the cabin I live in by the lake. It's been in the family forever. But when the new HOA board formed under Karen Whitfield, everything changed. Karen is the type of woman who can weaponize a smile, blonde bob, designer blazer, clipboard in one hand, bylaws in the other. She doesn't just enforce rules, she bends them into weapons. And when she realized Maggie's property was the crown jewel of the lakefront, she decided Maggie had to go. It started subtle. Oh, Alex, I noticed Maggie seems confused these days. Maybe it's not safe for her to live out here alone. Then it escalated. You know, developers would pay handsomely for land like this. I brushed it off. Until Maggie landed in a special care facility, supposedly her memory was failing fast. But when I looked at her medical chart, the sedatives were sky-high, doses of lorazepam that would leave anyone foggy. And guess who kept popping up at the facility, pretending to check in? Karen. That's when my gut twisted. Something was off. One night, I caught a so-called nurse drawing up a syringe for Maggie. Way too much. I grabbed her wrist, demanded an answer. She panicked and whispered. Karen told me it was just to keep her calm. That was the moment I knew. My HOA president was drugging my mother-in-law into incompetence. Act Two. Escalation and the breaking point. I started tapering Maggie's meds. Quietly, carefully. Within days, she began to wake up. At first, just whispers, then full sentences. And one night, she gripped my hand and said, Alex, I know what Karen wants. In the cabin, there's a box. It has everything. Evidence. You'll know what to do. She gave me a small brass key. My heart pounded. But here's where it got dangerous. HOA notices started arriving, accusing me of elder abuse. Karen spread rumors that I'd kidnapped Maggie. Some neighbors stopped waving. A patrol car parked across the street more than once. And one night, sitting alone with Maggie asleep in her chair, I thought, maybe they're right. Maybe I am pushing too far. Maybe I should just walk away. Sell the place. Let Maggie rest. That was my lowest moment. I stared at the walls of that cabin, the pictures of family trips, my wife as a little girl, Maggie smiling with her students, and I wondered if all of it was about to end. But then I remembered the key, the box, the promise of evidence. So I loaded Maggie into my car, drove through the night, and brought her home. We unlocked the old cedar trunk in the cabin. Inside were files, bank statements, voice recordings, contracts, proof that Karen was funneling HOA dues into shell companies, getting kickbacks from developers, even talking about accidents that happened to former board members. And then, headlights flooded the driveway. A black SUV rolled up. Men got out. Karen stepped onto my porch, smirk sharp as ever. She said one line that still echoes in my head. Sell, or you can't blame me for what comes next. She didn't realize the cameras I'd installed caught every word. Act 3. The climax. Dawn broke with sirens. 2 patrol cars pulled up. Karen had called them, claiming I was holding Maggie hostage. Before I could even explain, cold steel clamped around my wrists. The officer muttered, "You're under investigation for elder abuse and unlawful restraint." Karen stood there, arms crossed, lips curled. Finally, justice for poor Maggie. But then Detective Rachel Collins' sharp eyes, no patience for nonsense, turned to Maggie herself. "Mrs. Morrison, are you here against your will?" And Maggie, strong voice cutting through the morning air, said, "No, I am here by choice. And I have proof that woman is a thief and a murderer." The whole yard went silent. Collins stepped inside, saw the files spread on the table. She listened to a recording, Karen's voice, cold and clear. "Cut his brake line. It'll look like an accident." That was it. The final nail. The detective's radio crackled. Within the hour, more units arrived. Karen's face went from smug to pale to desperate as they cuffed, Her wrists this time. Karen Whitfield, you're under arrest for conspiracy, fraud, and attempted homicide. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, whispering. The so-called queen of the HOA dragged off screaming that it was all Liz. But the evidence was undeniable. And me, I stood there, wrists sore from the cuffs, exhausted, but finally breathing, because the nightmare was over. Closing line. Lies can shine for a moment, but truth, once revealed, burns brighter and lasts forever.